just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere.
That's it?
That's it. No, I can't. I'll probably screw up the lyrics.
No, that's more than enough. Thanks,
Okay.
Taylor. Thanks
You're
so much
welcome.
for coming back on the show. It's
Of
good
course.
to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
You
Thanks.
brought a friend.
Yes, I brought a friend in construction.
In construction, too.
Yes.
I was pleasantly surprised.
I know.
Because there's a lot of us out there in construction somewhere.
I know. And a lot of our conversation last time was about girls in construction.
Exactly.
So I figured it'd be a good match.
This is perfect. How do you guys know each other?
University. We lived together as roommates.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were figuring out what she was doing and she was building, or how does it work?
Well, honestly, I actually went to school for firefighting.
Oh.
And then I was like, I couldn't get a job. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to go in construction. So my dad works for Ellis Dawn, so he hooked me up with a job.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Welcome to
your
the
way
show,
up.
Hannah.
Thank you.
So nice to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks.
And I've got Keystone Contractor next to me here. He's like playing co-host duties. How's it going, Jay?
Pretty good, thanks. Big chicken sandwich for lunch.
Oh, he's going to go into a coma soon.
Little
So,
food
so
coma.
let me just share a little bit of deets here. So Taylor from the Therapy Space, right? You're the
Yes.
co-director.
Yes.
And the website is www.therapyspace.co. .co?
.co.
Yeah. .com wasn't available. And
Wasn't available.
.ca.
Now people get confused. They think I'm making a typo, but I'm like, no.
No, it's
just
.co, where everybody knows it's .co. It's info@thetherapyspace.co, and it's on Instagram, _therapyspace_.
Yes.
And then Hannah, your deets are, you're from Compass Construction.
Yep.
And you're a project manager, 2.5 years, and the website is www.compassconstruction.ca, and your email is Hannah, AH,
Yes.
right? Because some Hannahs are
Yes,
no H.
AH.
I'm just
Okay.
shouting out the Hannahs with no H, okay? At compassconstruction.ca. So, before we get into the show, I actually just want to share, I'm wearing Danny Doska's shirt. You know Danny Doska from Montreal,
yeah.
bricklayer, old school. So thanks so much, Danny, for the tee. It's a little snug, but we'll live with it. That's how we'll go with that route. But I also want to just talk about how today's show, I want to have like a twofold kind of thing. We want to continue our conversation that we had before.
Okay.
I want to still discuss mental health and things that are going on with specifically tradespeople.
Okay.
But I also want to bring up, women in construction and your part and how you got into it and all that stuff. So I want to learn about that.
Okay, cool.
But I want to begin that Jay and I were just having a conversation with another contractor, and he was letting us know the substance abuses based on trades. And we
Yeah.
found it kind of interesting how,
Okay.
what was he saying, Jay? He was saying painters are into the weed.
Well, I see, when it comes to the use of marijuana,
Yes.
I see it in painters,
Okay.
drywall borders, drywall mutters, and what was the other one I see a lot of?
Well, he was seeing the hard stuff. Cocaine was with, who was it with? Framers,
Yeah,
concrete,
like this
alcohol. Alcohol
I
was with
see a lot
carpenters.
of carpenters and plumbers. I see a lot of
Really?
like booze, like alcohol abuse.
It's interesting how it all falls into a specific.
Well, I think I got a theory because we also have a specific kind of tool mindset too. Certain
Okay.
trades use certain colored tools based on their trade.
Well, it's
As
funny,
you
like-
probably are seeing that.
Honestly, I don't pay attention.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Do you have a favorite tool brand that you kind of gear towards?
Are
Are you red? Are you yellow? Are you blue? You're
hear
maybe
you.
yellow.
Milwaukee.
Yellow.
You're DeWalt.
Yeah, Milwaukee's good.
Here, Milwaukee's a good one.
But if you're project managing, you're not really on the tools.
No,
that
I used to
much,
do demo though. Like that's how I kind of started.
So
but
demo, you probably would have been using a lot of Bosch
Yeah.
or Makita or DeWalt. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, those ones
Exactly.
there. So I kind of like, there's certain trades that go with a tool brand.
Okay.
And now it was just a candid conversation. All of
Yeah.
a sudden you find out that there's certain substances that are attached to certain tradespeople.
Hmm.
as
But like
well,
when I
too.
show up to a job, like I had a guy who was just one man, did his drywall mud the old school way, had a milk crate, had some knives, trowel, hawk, no boxes, no nothing, none of the like the high production tools, and like a kind of a bigger, heavier guy. Used to be a preacher, right?
Okay.
And he was just like apparently God wasn't good enough for him. Decided to get. I mean, doesn't work with music. There's no music on, and he just goes in a house and muds it by hand. Doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, like
Wow.
sober.
Wow.
And like it was, like you're just so used to guys coming in reeking of pick your poison,
yes.
right? And to see somebody show up who was one, like, you don't see heavy guys on ladders. Like, I don't see a lot of guys doing soffit and fascia that are big.
Yeah.
They're all thin. Like, you don't see a lot of fat roofers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Because and just to see a bigger fella on the stilts doing his thing and completely sober and no music. I don't work with music, but I'm
Yeah.
always in my head.
Yeah.
But like just to see that, I mean, it's just so weird because every
Different.
time you go roofers, you got drywall, everybody's always just, they're on something. Even if it's energy drinks
Yeah.
or Tim Hortons,
Yeah.
there's something that's just, everything's about the thing they're doing.
Someone started it.
Yeah.
There was like one guy in the trade that was like,
There
this
has-
is what I'm
there-
doing.
You know
and
what I mean?
everyone,
But you're just so used to it, so that when you see it, completely, it's like when people, I tell people I don't drink. I've never had a drink. I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. They're like, what do you mean you don't drink? They don't get it.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that he doesn't drink?
Or like I don't drink coffee, so it's like, how do you
yeah,
start
he
your
doesn't,
day?
he doesn't understand espresso
And it's like
either.
I wake up,
Psychopath.
and go about my day, and they don't get it.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get the coffee one. That's tough.
Taylor, I want to ask you, how has it been since the last time we saw you, where you've now gone on your own?
Yeah.
And COVID, I guess, technically is over.
Yeah, pretty
Depending on who
much.
you are, or
Yes.
where you are, or whatever.
Yeah.
How's everybody feeling, so to speak? I know it's a general
Yes.
blanketed question, but
I think a lot of the focus has changed. So, like during COVID, a lot of the people were coming in with presenting concerns of like loneliness, depression, social anxiety. But now that people are getting the chance to go out and see their friends and different family members and go on trips and just live life again, it's moving away from that, or especially just healing from that. So now the social anxiety, we're able to actually like put in an action plan and change it, because now they can go out and practice new things and and do some like behavioral experiments or exposure therapy, or kind of just go out into the world and start getting better from
Like
these
a-
things
like
that
a
have
new
like
lease on
plagued
life.
them.
will
Yeah.
people actually put it finally behind us? Or will it always be something that'll just carry on or carry up and be brought to the forefront in a
For
certain-
COVID?
Yeah.
Well, I still have clients who have been kind of ridiculed for their choices around vaccination status.
Yep.
And that's still something that really gets in the way of certain family relationships, jobs, and they've suffered some hardships because of that as well. So that's still a topic of conversation, although we have technically moved past the worst of it. It's still coming up. Like
But
the
the stigma
effects of it
hasn't
all.
been passed yet.
But it's interesting because if you watch, like I like Netflix, I watch comedians, Dave Chappelle. Pick your comedian. Every comedian that's on there goes on there and very passive aggressively makes fun of, not that, well, you know, it's the science. Like basically they are promoting why did you not get your shot? Why were you not vaccinated? Like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they make a joke of it. Anyone that didn't is just stupid and blah, blah, blah. And everyone has a good laugh and blah. Because you have to
Yeah.
be vaccinated to get to those shows anyway. And this, that, and the other thing. Then the other thing I've also noticed is that people that were not vaccinated, people that are vaccinated, people that were vaccinated, and I talked to them, that's it. They just were, and that's it. And now we're here. But the
Yeah.
people that were not, just, it's almost like I'm finding that they're having to justify when they have a conversation.
Yep.
They'll tell you they weren't. Like it's like CrossFit. I didn't ask you do CrossFit. You'll tell me all about it. Or if you're a vegetarian.
They just
It's in my
They put
rear
it up
view
there.
now. Like it's honestly in my rear view.
I
And
agree.
even when it was going on, it was the same thing with, I'm not a racist, or I don't have any opinions about any particular culture, religion, I don't give a shit. You're a human being, period. That's how I judge you, right?
Yeah.
So it's in my rearview mirror, but I could see how this kind of stigma, if you were the one family member who didn't,
Yes.
that's going to stay probably for the entire chunk of your life with your family.
Yeah.
And that's
remember when you didn't get the, you know,
Well,
yeah.
also there's so much misinformation on the news about
That's the
like
other-
what vaccines actually did. So for a while, everyone thought, oh, if you get the vaccine, then you won't get COVID. But that's not true. Your
Yeah.
symptoms will just not be as bad, right? But because that whole narrative was perpetuated, everyone's like, well, you're the reason why COVID's still around, when that's simply not true, right?
Yeah.
They don't transmit it anymore. They just might suffer a bit more.
So how are
Right.
you communicating with these individuals that are coming in to see you about that? Because it's still lingering around. I guess whether it's a family, I guess you treat it differently. If it's a person that's dealing with family, and then
Yeah.
versus employment. Employment, I could see people wanting to leave or just move on to another occupation instead,
Right.
or a different crew or whatever.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that? How are you helping them out?
Well, in terms of work, most things are kind of fixed at this point, but they were still ostracized at some point. So it's really just validating their point of views, their autonomy, their decision making. Like everyone has the right to do what they want to do, and to just make them feel secure in that decision and not questioned. Let them know that they don't have to justify it to me. I don't care. Do what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not judging you. If it's about losing your job, having to find another one, I'll help them kind of set new goals. Let's see what you value. Let's see what you're good at. Let's see where your skills are. Let's find something that's a good fit that will still be fulfilling, because that one job, I mean, there's so many jobs out there, right?
Yeah.
So if there's something that's not serving you anymore, it's not good for you anymore, then let's help you find something else. In terms of family relationships, same thing on like the validation kind of piece of it all, but maybe just teaching them how to set boundaries with family members. Like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to discuss or debate this. This was my decision, and like, that's it, right? And just kind of drawing the line with certain people in our lives so that it's no longer such a heavy burden that we have to carry or feel judged about. Just draw the line. I don't want to talk about it. Set those boundaries and work on basically communication with those people.
You just see it's almost like a form of bullying to a point too.
Yeah.
And almost like it's almost like a post PTSD effect of like whether you had it or didn't have it. Even if you had it or didn't have it, if you were at home alone and just can't deal with it, the anxiety, the everything crashing down, and if you don't have any base on how to handle those things and don't know how to deal with it, it's like a 6-year-old who's angry and has these feelings and just doesn't know how to express them, or
There's nowhere to put them.
Yeah.
Hannah, how was it with you? I mean, you were basically starting in construction at the start of COVID, I guess.
Yeah, I finished school, and then my dad's like, I can get you a job doing demo, water restoration, whatever, just being a slave. So I was like, okay. So
We're all slaves.
Did you ask your father if he even liked you when he did that?
I should have.
Thanks,
So
Dad.
I started in the middle of the pandemic. Well, I guess
Yeah.
at the beginning of it when it was really bad. So I was supposed to start, I believe it was like April, but I had to hold off a couple months because there was no work because people didn't want us to go inside their house.
Yeah.
So then when I started, it was like the whole masks, everything. We'd wear like suits going into people's houses. Like it was serious.
It's intense.
Yeah, very intense.
But you had to do that doing demo anyway. You're already
Yeah. Yeah.
Sealing
Depends on
up.
what you're doing though.
True.
There
But
was
for the most
asbestos.
part, right? So did you enjoy the demo part of the business?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
A lot of aggression too.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why I see people taking on to the demo jobs, because they just want to just let go of certain things that are going on.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Oh yeah.
Until
I loved it.
until you got to clean it up.
Oh yeah.
True.
It's all good swinging a sledge and doing all these
And then you
things,
gotta clean up all the
and then you're
drywall after.
standing there looking at this mountain of drywall going, oh, that was a bad decision.
Yeah, spend 3 hours cleaning it up.
So how is it coming into a man's world, so to speak, for construction? Has it been good? Has it been? Have most of the men trades have been they embracing you?
It's hit or miss.
Okay, so
I
there
feel
is.
like-
That's what it is, right? It's
I feel like you have to like prove yourself,
Yeah.
like majorly. Like you can't be too nice because then they're gonna think you're, I don't know, pussy.
Yeah.
So, you definitely have to stand your ground. I have a lot of friends in construction, so that kind of helped. But yeah, I definitely had to stand my ground and don't mess with me type of vibe, because I'm super nice and I didn't want people to take advantage of me, right? So, I had to put my foot down.
Yeah.
She has some wild stories, though.
what, on construction sites or?
Yeah. I don't know if you're allowed to talk
No,
about
you,
it, but
you can share whatever you like to share. We don't need to. The names of the situations have all been changed. Like, you don't have to divulge the specific names of any companies or what have you.
you know
It's
the
totally
story
up
I'm
to
thinking
you.
about
Which one?
when the guys, in terms of bathroom on site.
There's so many stories. I'm trying to
Oh.
think of which one this one was.
I don't want to say it. It's like it's the whole story.
Say the story. Do it.
Okay.
Say it.
I'll start it. She was at work on this one site. I think it was it wasn't this job. It was a previous job, different company. And these I guess, contract workers, or I don't really know what they are. I don't know the business, but these people that were working on the site decided not to use the actual washroom.
Yeah, so they used
All over the building
Everywhere.
Yeah,
for like
that's-
2 weeks straight. I was
know.
investigating.
Like
That is-
in
that is-
walls.
That is, believe it or not,
Is that normal?
Wicked.
That's
it's
typical.
very common.
It was in
Really?
it was in the walls. Like I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing a walkthrough and
In
I was
between
like,
drywall.
I smell
Yeah.
something.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, and I did like a 2-week investigation. I was watching everyone. I'm like, are you the serial shitter?
So
like,
there's two folds to that, because there's not a proper facility on the job site, or
they're too lazy.
they're just lazy and they just want to be assholes. That's all it is. They really don't care about the environment. They don't care about their fellow tradesperson.
They're
Well, they didn't respect me, so that
They're
was another.
barbarians.
Yeah.
And they'll do it for shock value, and just because
Yep.
they know it bothers you or they
Yep.
think it will, it's
Yep.
even like, yeah.
It was right after I called them out for doing something. They had to fix like this, whatever. They had to fix something for me, and they wouldn't do it. So I had to talk to their boss, and then after that, I started seeing.
Then the pigs come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I would just say that it ain't gonna be the last time.
Oh no.
That's the stupid part of it.
Like
Yeah.
stupid things like if you're ever at a site and you're going to clean up and you see those Tim Horton cups just sitting there.
Oh.
Never kick
no.
one over.
No, never. I've learned that.
Is it full
Don't.
with pee?
Yes,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
other substances, whatever. Yeah.
So Taylor, I wanted to ask you, when everything started to go kind of normal, so to speak, with air quotes,
Yeah.
did people too quickly try to grasp a hold of normalcy and reality, or should they have gone a little slower, easier? I don't know. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it almost feels like they did the flip.
Oh, yeah.
Like they did we've been cooped up for so long, and now I want to start doing what I used to do, so I'm going
Yeah.
to do everything now.
Yeah.
So was that a good move, bad move? Was that negative?
I think it's subjective. Like, I feel like the only downside I could see is financial because,
Yeah, because everyone just started pouring money into going away or spending
Exactly.
or going out. And
but I don't know. In my personal opinion, you only live once. You have
Guilty.
one life. Yeah. This one makes me go on tons of trips. 'Cause she's like, you're young. You have to. Anyways. But you just lost a major chunk of your life.
chunk of your life. And if you were older,
Yeah.
if you were older, like in your 50s or your 60s, you lost a huge amount of spent time. Like
yeah, with your
huge amount.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's big. And I know the younger generation just being a part of it is like, well, this is our 20s, like this was supposed to be like the best years of our lives, da da da. I guess it's
Keep
all.
grabbing onto that. Yeah. That's okay.
Right. So, well, for us, for now, anyway, right? And so we got free, and we were just super excited. And I don't see a downside. I think it's like, okay, if you have the means, if you have the time, if you have the capacity to go out and just live again, then go live. Like, stop limiting yourself. Like, if you have anxiety and all these things, like, just stop. You're free again. Go live your life.
As long as you're not
Stop
hurting
wasting-
anybody, go ahead and live.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple as that.
Was there one
Absolutely.
reoccurring, not theme, but was there one reoccurring thing that kept coming up that you saw more of than other issues with not issues, but you know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
people talk about, obviously they tell you what's going on. Was there one thing that was more common amongst people?
Maybe specifically in the people I see, social anxiety is a big one, and as also trauma, relational trauma with like family or
That must have been big
ex-partners.
during those whole years. Like it just
Yeah.
like it was tough enough just to have a successful relationship, let alone now.
And then the like reintegrating back into society kind of thing with people,
Right.
or coming into like the social setting, and you're so used to this
Yeah,
social
seclusion.
distancing, and then next thing you
Yeah.
know, somebody brushes up against you, and you're like,
Yeah.
Well, I feel like all these kids that have awful relationships with their parents and they're stuck at home with their parents for 2 years.
It was hard for them.
Yeah.
Or
Just made
an
it worse.
abusive
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
Or an abusive partner.
Yeah.
Or if you had a couple that were not on the same page or what have you,
Yep.
it just compounded on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, eh?
Just secluded from all normal life. You could feel the
Literally like a
tension. Like
prison,
you could
yeah.
imagine like how that would heighten all their issues.
I could assume that during this whole period, divorces or separations or breakups were all up.
Yeah, there was
I'm
a lot
assuming.
of in what I've seen anyways. I'm not sure of the actual statistics, but in what I've seen there's been a lot of breakups after like COVID once things started opening up.
once you're allowed out, it's like, I'm going out for a bit. When will you be back?
Never.
Yeah, no.
So you're helping people doing or coping with that, and is it more female or male, or what's the story? Is it balanced?
Mostly female clients, and I
Okay.
think that's across the board in the whole industry. There is probably like a 4-to-1 ratio, I would
Really?
say, something like that.
So the
Don't
other
quote
three
me on it,
men, let's just say for argument's sake, the other 3 men, they just don't want to confront it, or they
I think there's still a huge stigma about therapy. I
And
think
men.
and men getting therapy. Yes,
I agree with
yeah.
you.
Well,
Especially
because
in
if you
construction.
if you speak, you're exposing yourself as weak because you want to talk about your
Yeah.
feelings, and
Yeah, well, you're
men don't do that.
men who suffer don't do
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Exactly. That's exactly what. That's the alternative right there.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can not be vulnerable, but you can also not enjoy your life. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's what's the cost? What's the cost of protecting your vulnerability? Is it worth it? That's what I
yeah.
always say.
And that's like the excessive alcoholism, the drugs, the stuff, anything to escape the
But that's
reality
human
that you're in
nature,
your head.
right? Like that's human nature, and I'm assuming more men than women do this. They just gear towards a vice as
Yeah.
a solution for what's really going on.
Yeah,
But it's also
avoidant.
the stigma. I mean, when you're growing up, I mean,
Hugely.
my dad, most of our dads, you know, you don't cry.
No, you
You
suck
don't
it up.
talk about your feelings. Men don't
It's
hug.
2022 right now.
Oh, no,
Like, I
that's
mean,
fine. But you can evolve and learn that. You know better. I know better.
Right.
But when I was being
Growing up.
brought up, like, no,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
While they're beating you, then you get beat even more because now this hurts.
Yeah.
Well, now you're crying. I'm going to beat you for crying. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
This helps.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing in like relationships. There's like things called avoidant attachments, anxious attachments, or secure attachments. And this is just your attachment style when you're in a relationship or with your friends, mostly in your romantic relationships. But the avoidant one, instead of confronting the problem head on, which someone maybe in a secure attachment would, they go outwards and they externalize and they find a vice. They go to an external source to solve their issues, right? So that might be work, might be alcoholism. But if you see like an avoidant attachment in a partner, instead of going to their significant other to address something, they'll avoid it. And so you kind of see that in men too. They just avoid the issue at hand
I would
sometimes.
assume that men would do it more than women.
Yeah, I think so.
Trust me, I want to point fingers at men. I really do want to point fingers at men because I'm one, and I could say,
Yeah.
I'm pointing a finger at you because you're doing this on purpose. Why are you doing this on purpose? You shouldn't be doing this. Why don't you confront? Because it's just going to help you out later on in life too. If you can't handle this situation,
Yeah.
it's just going to compound to the next situation and the next situation.
Well, there's this huge theme of being so uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And vulnerability is being uncomfortable. But it's also a superpower. If you can be vulnerable, you can create such meaningful relationships and you can actually become more fulfilled and happier and confront issues and heal emotional wounds. Vulnerability is so important. But there's this huge culture of like, oh, I want to avoid all bad feelings. Just that's unpleasant experience. Everyone doesn't want to be uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't want to watch the
Right?
news because it's full of bad things. I don't want to listen to this.
But that's
It's like,
today's-
I mean, you can't live in this bubble, like, because then the first thing bad that happens to you, you're now traumatized.
Yep.
You have no, you know, I mean, there's no.
There's no distress tolerance. You have no capacity.
So
But-
am I fair to point another finger at social media and TikTok and IG as an avoidance?
Oh, for sure. It's like a distraction.
But it's
Okay.
funny because there's
Yeah.
you can see stuff on there where it's, you know, you see that how, you know, don't want to see this, but then on the other side you've got the extreme opposite end of that field where you're seeing people speaking out going, well, you know, we need to hit our kids again and do this and do you know,
Yeah.
there's not this nice balance in there about maybe they could just talk and get to the root of some issues. It's the other extreme. I see that too,
Yeah.
right? So there's
Definitely a spectrum out there.
What were the other two? Avoidance is one, and the other two were
Anxious and secure.
okay. So how do
Yeah.
they apply?
Secure attachments is like, I guess, like the holy grail is what you want to kind of have. It means that you're able to kind of self-regulate, self-soothe. You're not codependent on other people. You feel secure in yourself, in your relationships, and you don't seek external validation often. Like you are just, you know, you're feeling good, you're feeling secure in your relationships and your attachment to other people. Anxious attachment, as you could maybe assume is you're feeling anxious about your relationship and that you're not secure in where you stand with your partner or your friend, maybe questioning the status of the relationship. Does this person still love me? Did I do something wrong? Like those kinds of questions often run through an anxious attachment's mind. Unfortunately, it's not so straightforward. There's like mediums, so you could be anxious avoidant, you could be like
a bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
But
Those
that's
are
all
just
applicable to partner relationship, family relationships, business relationships, employer-employee relationships. It's all applicable to that.
and it's born in childhood. It's all born in how your parents raised you or how your caregiver raised you.
Okay, so can you kind of walk us through my generation? We're Gen X, right? So, and then versus, I guess, millennials and Gen Z now, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the parents doing? What were like baby boomer parents, like what were they doing that's kind of feeding those three? Some of the key points.
I think, like we already kind of said, this suck it up, don't talk about our feelings. I think there might have also been like a misconception around let's protect our kids, but that doesn't mean protecting them from uncomfortable emotions, right? Like you need to still be able to talk to your child about things that are hard, about emotions and how we feel. And if something upset you, why? Let's help our kids learn how to manage our emotions and understand them and even identify them. Because there's a lot of people that I see, older people now as my clients, who can't even really put their finger on what they're feeling and they can't even articulate it to me, right? So that tells me that they were never really taught or role modeled how to do that, right? So I'm guessing, of course I don't know for sure, but that kind of generation of parents.
I'm from a generation,
right?
First of all, my parents never had these conversations with me, right? They wouldn't talk to you about these certain things, right?
Okay, there you go, yeah.
So
children should be seen and not heard.
Yeah, and so then you I guess your exposure to it would have been your circle of friends.
Right.
And you would see how they would be around you, and then you become a byproduct of your circle of friends.
Which is still a huge influence,
yes,
your
of
circle
course.
of friends. Yeah, it's not just your parents, right? You do get influenced a lot by your friends. But again, if all your friends are with the same type of parents with the same...
We don't talk about
Same.
Johnny's
Right.
new cigarette burn marks on his arm that he got from dad.
What planet are you from, man?
Depends on the friends you had and the parents they had. And nuts.
I got a question for you, Hannah, but I just want to actually ask you guys a little bit of history of construction, see if you know anything of this, Hannah.
God.
I just pulled it, so I don't
Oh
necessarily...
my gosh. Okay.
The pressure's on.
Oh my
No, it's
God.
not on. Don't worry.
The 10 mega projects through history. All right. Any idea what the 10 mega project? You can't answer because you can see them. Great Wall of China,
Oh, I was going to guess that.
1644.
Okay.
Great Pyramid, 2560 BC. Brooklyn Bridge, 1869, 1883. That's how long it took. The Panama Canal, 1904. Burj Khalifa, 2004. English Channel Tunnel, 1988. I didn't know that started in 88 to 1994. Hoover Dam, 1936. And Aqueduct, how do you pronounce that? Sylvania? No, Sauvageau? 112 AD.
The aqueduct
What are the biggest projects in America currently going on as of 2020?
As of 2020.
Currently.
So there's a $77 billion California high-speed rail construction going on right now.
Oh, wow.
$77 billion. $54 billion Sound Transit 3 construction project. A $52.5 billion Las Vegas Convention Center. People Mover.
Oh.
I love Vegas. She loves Vegas.
Never heard of any
You
of
love
these.
Vegas?
I love
She
Vegas. I would
loves
live there.
Vegas.
Bury me there.
How young
Bury
are you?
me there.
How young are you?
24.
That's why
We've been like 4 times in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a little stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to go.
So
to
you're going to
Vegas
be
anymore.
enjoying this People Mover thing there once it's completed, I guess.
Yeah.
But by the way, Las Vegas Convention Center is such a shithole, but that's okay.
Is it?
The $20 billion Hudson Yards in New York and the $17 billion Second Avenue subway construction project. Who owns the most expensive building in the entire world?
Dubai.
I was going to say somewhere in Dubai.
It's in Mumbai, India.
Oh.
Really?
$2 billion
yeah.
$2 billion house.
Oh, wow. insane.
So most expensive private residence on the planet. Attila is the Mumbai home of billionaire Mukesh Ambani.
Yeah.
27-story tower, which is his home. It was completed in 2010
Wow.
and thought to have cost $2 billion. Dollars.
That's wild.
I gotta look that up. I want to see it.
Like the Indian Trump Tower.
So yes, my question is that since you're brand new to construction, how much of this substance abuse have you seen?
I've heard stories. I haven't seen it on site.
You haven't seen it on your sites?
No, because that would not rock with me.
Okay.
Wouldn't fly.
No,
It's dangerous.
very.
But I guess my question to both of you is, why do you think, and I'm going to say mostly men because I'm going to point at them,
Okay.
why are they so quick to go to a substance abuse to kind of,
The stigma.
sorry?
The stigma.
That
Right?
man,
They
I'm a
don't-
man, take it, I'm a man.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about it.
They don't want to talk about it, so they rather go into a bottle, go into a cigar, go into a cigarette or whatever, weed, whatever it is.
It's like you finished work. What do you do? Go grab a beer.
Grab a beer.
bar, yeah.
Grab
Yep.
a beer. Let's talk about things.
Yep.
You gotta have a drink before you go home,
Yep.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
So
if
that's
you-
why they primarily, that's like the
Well, I had a friend. I have a friend, and he was going through a lot at the time. And I'm like, you never talk about it. Like he'll just like mention like little things, and he'll be like, well, if I just distract myself, I don't have to talk about it or feel it. He's like, I just put it in the back of my head, and I'm like, one
so
day,
he was open about it.
no, he'll just like say little things about what's going on, and then be like, but I don't like talking about it. I just put it in the back of my head, and I don't have to deal with it. And then he smoked a lot and whatever, drank a lot. So I guess that was his out. He just wouldn't think about it, wouldn't talk about it, drink it away, smoke it away.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were also talking to another contractor, and he was talking about how a tradesperson, was he a framer? I can't remember what trade he was, but his wife left him, turned right to the bottle, and he's basically destroying his body, and he's on the verge of death now. He's destroyed his liver, he's destroyed everything now.
Oh, it was Phil.
Gosh.
Yeah, so it's just like,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
how do we see the signs, or how can we, if we're a GC on site, or if we're a fellow tradesperson on site, are there kind of, like him saying that to you, that's a huge sign for me to think,
Yeah.
what do you mean? That's how you solve that situation?
Well, I was the only one he would talk kind of about stuff like that. Like he wouldn't tell his like wife, he wouldn't tell anyone. It was just me.
Sometimes I guess, Taylor, people have to find some sort of ounce of goodness in a person that may not necessarily be their significant other or a family
Yeah.
member or a friend,
Yeah.
and they want to confine with them.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear of judgment. And a lot of people, I've heard it from a lot of clients, they say it's so refreshing to talk to someone who doesn't know anyone else in my life, who won't judge me, who is like a third party perspective, who's just kind,
Just listen.
who just listen. A lot of people avoid talking to their friends about certain issues because they get the wrong response. Right?
The judgment leads to anxiety. Anxiety leads to
Or maybe they're
Or
not getting
just
the answers they want to hear.
Yeah, or they're getting answers, period.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes people don't need your advice, right?
They just wanna be heard.
They want to be heard. They want to know that you understand what they're going through. They don't want you to tell them what to do. They want you to just say, wow, that's so hard, or like, you
Yeah.
must be really struggling. That's so difficult to go through, or
Like,
whatever.
acknowledge their-
Just acknowledge.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Versus-
understand.
Or if you say something to somebody and then they turn it around going, oh, I know how you feel. I had the same. And then next thing you know, your story,
that's
it's like,
dismissive though to do that.
It's dismissive. That one, it's a hard line to walk because a lot of people relate and like keep conversations going that way. And I know a lot of people with ADHD, that's how they try to make people understand or show that they understand them, is by saying, oh yeah, me too. This also happened to me. So they don't do it out of any ill intent.
they're not trying to take the conversation over. They're
No.
just trying to say,
Not
I
for-
support
not
you.
for
but
some.
I relate to that.
Because I know
Yeah.
how you feel, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just not the right response. Even though there's no ill intent behind it, that's just sometimes not the right response depending on the
So
situation.
if someone actually has the strength to confide in somebody and actually
Mm-hmm.
start sharing some of the stuff that they haven't shared in their personal circle,
Yeah.
the best thing you can do is not necessarily make it about you.
Yes.
Like, you're not a part of this equation. This
No.
person has come towards you to talk to you
Yes.
about sharing what's going on in their life.
Yep.
So they're probably so afraid of judgment from their personal circle that they saw something good and different in you. And the last thing you want to do is actually make it about you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why therapy's so good. It's because ethically and just logically, therapists should not talk about themselves. It's a whole hour where we listen to you and get to know you and just are here to understand what you're going through. It's so special. It's so cool to just have someone just dedicate their time to just understand and support you that way. And obviously it's just sometimes harder for other people to do that, to be there for others in that capacity. But my biggest tip is just ask, like, is there anything I can do for you? Do you want advice? Do you just want a listening ear? You know, can I do something for you? Do you want a distraction? Do you want a shoulder to cry on? Do you want me to leave you alone? You know, ask, right? Because a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. Like, awkward situation, like kind of not my place. I've never, been in this position before. I don't know what to do to support this person. So a lot of the times people will resort to being like, yes, me too. I know what that's like. Or, these responses that aren't really effective at doing anything or helping this person. Just ask.
Is that all applicable though? So let's say you're the GC. So you're basically the quarterback of the game.
Yeah.
And now you're the one that has the issues. You're the one that is going through something.
Yeah.
And you can't communicate with is that a possibility where all your life everything's perfectly fine, but now all of a sudden you're successful, you're doing well, and you're the top dog on this project? How do you communicate with somebody then? How do you go to your team that's looking up to you for guidance to kind of open up to somebody? How does a person do that?
With a differing power dynamic, you mean?
Yeah.
And so like the GC, like being vulnerable with.
Yes. That's a huge challenge.
It is. I think it's subjective though, because if you're putting yourself up here on this pedestal, right, in work environments, yes, you are running the show, right? But if you're going to a coworker about some personal issue, remove that power dynamic, right? You don't have to have that power dynamic there anymore. Separate work from personal. If you're looking to get guidance from someone, you don't have to have that power dynamic there. And I think it's a bit of an ego thing too, right? Like they want to seem, big, strong, don't have any issues kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just that ability to be like, you know what? I'm just going to put my guard down, drop the pride. I need help. I want to talk to this guy, right? I'm the one reinforcing this power dynamic in my mind, which is making it difficult for me to reach out when I really need to. Let me just take that out of the equation for now, because I recognize this is something that I need.
It is true that we make it far worse than what it really is.
Yeah, it's this construct. Yeah. Of our position and the power dynamic in the workplace and all those little intricacies. Just make it a bit more complex, but it doesn't need to be that way. And I think we perpetuate it in our own minds, like, oh, I can't do this because this and that. It's a social construct that's stopping you here. Like, what's most important? Again, what's the cost here, right?
But I think, too, like, even just speaking to somebody the way you would like to be spoken to.
Yeah, that's huge.
Just be nice,
Yeah.
To sit there and if somebody's made a mistake, chances are they're not doing it on purpose. And even if they are, great. You don't as soon start yelling at somebody, then all this nonsense comes up. But if you just have a conversation about it and either acknowledge what has been happened or just, like I said, just be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's how I am. And if you're a boss or a GC and over a big team of people, if you're not, it depends on how close you work with them. I know with me and my guys, I work very close with them. So even when mistakes are made, it doesn't matter how angry I am, even if it's completely screwed the day, if everything's just gone to hell in a handbasket. Hey guys, just got to be nice about it. I have to eat my problems because if I just sit there and rant and rave, in 2 weeks they're gone. Because you start yelling at guys, and when you work all the day, seeing each other, like if you guys just start yelling, if you guys go on vacation
Takes
sometime,
a toll.
Yeah.
and all of a sudden one of you just snaps on each other and just starts insulting, and how, great, guess what? Those vacations aren't going to happen a lot,
Yeah.
But
To be approachable.
but if something happens and it was, I didn't realize, and you talk about it, going, okay, well, we'll try to manage that next time. At least it's a comfortable, you don't want to.
That shows me that you have emotional regulation. Not everyone has that.
Yeah, because
What is that exactly?
It's
What's sorry?
emotional regulation. So something happens.
Yeah.
It might piss you off or upset you. It's ruined the day, the whole work day. But you're able to be like, okay, yes, I feel angry. Yes, this made me upset. But I'm not going to let that totally control my reaction.
Okay.
Right? So you're able to regulate that emotion that just popped
because
up.
after we have the big hissy fit, after all the, all the FUs and God damn it, after all that's dealt with, we still have the problem to deal with.
Right.
So let's
Hasn't been solved,
bypass
yeah.
this little visit.
Yeah.
And let's just get right to the problem and move
Right.
on with the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work sucks as it is. So let's just try to have at least a modicum of fun.
Yeah.
today and just get over it.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
And I like stuff like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't use humor to mask stuff.
I do.
But you gotta laugh at everything because
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
I was just gonna say, what's your slogan?
Yeah, if you don't
That's
laugh,
Santa's
you'll cry.
slogan.
yeah.
You don't want to feel crying?
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. That's true. I can see that.
Yeah.
That's her motto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear it once every couple of days.
That's actually no,
or
it's good.
cry in the rain, I guess.
Yeah.
That's Charlie
one knows.
Chaplin.
Little
Amazing.
closet cry.
A little closet cry.
A little closet cry. Porta potty cry.
Oh God, no
Cry.
thanks. No thanks.
Site super's office cry.
I don't want to go back in the closet.
I guess there's another situation where you'd get our generation that none of this has ever happened to us, and all of a sudden now it's happening to us, and it's kind of boiling over now. And are we kind of just thinking to ourselves, what the fuck is going on in my life now that I'm feeling weird, or I'm feeling different, I'm feeling strange about what's going on in my life? And are they in denial at that point about, no, I can't be anxious, I can't be any of those three, I can't do any of this. This is not, all through my life, my 20s, I was hard, I was like good, I was working,
Yeah.
all 30s, perfect, great, met the right person, 40s, but then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you get into your 40s or 50s, whatever, and things change.
Yeah.
It could happen anytime, right?
Yep. Especially with depression and anxiety. It can happen at any age. And there's, a laundry list full of reasons why it could happen and to explain the onset. But I could imagine that being so kind of difficult to accept and understand and then acknowledge and do something about it if your whole life you haven't struggled with any mental health issues and then all of a sudden you're not feeling so good. So you'll probably push it off.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not willing to acknowledge, like, oh, shit, maybe I am anxious or depressed or whatever it may be.
Or things can change in your life that things could just with COVID, things quiet down. If you're so busy working that
Distractions.
you can't hear it, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you can't go to work, you can't do anything, and then you're sitting at home and you're like, oh, I'm by myself with my own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
Well, this is horrible. Netflix, fix me.
Yeah.
Or something, or drink this, or excessive whatever. Social media, Facebook, or
Yeah.
whatever. It's just
I
and
guess,
then I've seen that kind of go on with people.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had a few I love talking about like that with just to get those nitty gritty things out. And a few people, once you kind of get to know people and they start to open up, and they'll actually say like being by myself, they're like, I hate it. It sucks.
Yeah, but there's those people like, man, these days I hate people. Is that normal, Taylor? Like I really
I do hear that.
I used to love so much Toronto and downtown and so many people.
Yeah.
Now I have such a dislike for it that literally you can park me on an island with nobody there, and I think I'd probably be a lot
You'll be
happier.
You'll be happy.
Like I really will. Like, what are we going to do today? First of all, look for food, right?
Yeah.
And I'll spend my day looking for food. So what about if those people, they just don't want to be a part of this construct? You know what I mean? And that a normal thing to do, or that's just a painted picture that they're giving themselves?
Yeah, I think it's dependent on the case. I think it might be almost like a coping mechanism, They've been through a lot of shit. So they're
Humans, we're a gathering type of people, right?
we need human connection.
And then
We
Yeah,
need
for
it.
sure.
and then you have your bouts where you want to go out and be alone, and whether it's
Yeah.
But then when the bouts of being alone is greater than the bouts of being with somebody,
yeah.
what happens there? Is that you just coping?
Yeah, I think it's like a defense mechanism sometimes. Again, it depends on the case and the person.
Yep.
But I think at our core, as humans, we need human connection.
Yep.
We need it.
Well, babies that are born and not touched literally die.
No, well, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, it's at our core. We absolutely need it. I think those people that are kind of preaching like, oh, I hate people. I'd rather be alone the rest of my life. I couldn't care less, da-da-da.
But right now, while they're thinking in that situation, that's that 100% verified. That's how you feel.
That's how
But
they
then
feel right
maybe-
now.
But there's that false connection with social media. I go back to it. I'm sorry, but like that's fact that the dopamines and all that crap is people liking you or communicating with you, complete strangers, is feeding you, and you're thinking that you have this huge circle of people that actually think you're an important person. But you're not at that point, really.
Yeah, you have to reassess. Be like, wait a minute, who are the people that are actually in my life?
Yeah, exactly. Who are really important in your life. And as we know, as you get older, that number gets smaller.
Yeah.
Because you start realizing that, okay, you're not really connected. And then it's just like, it could be relationships or it could be family.
Yeah.
It could be friendships, and people do grow apart.
Yes.
That's just a fact. You do, like, you change. You're a different person. I'm a different person from my 20s, 30s, 40s, and now. So you do change, and you may not stay on the same path as your friends, your family, or your coworkers.
Absolutely. As you should change.
If
you don't change, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But
They say, you know what happens if you don't try? Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, I love saying that to my clients. If nothing changes, nothing's going to change. Because a lot of them are resilient to like trying new things or, doing certain like interventions, right? But they're here in therapy. They want something to change, whether that's their mental state or certain situation or relationship. And sometimes I have to remind them, hey, nothing's going to change if nothing changes, You have to be willing to put yourself out there and make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. And there's that theme again, being uncomfortable, not just sitting alone or distracting yourself or whatever it is. You need to be willing to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable to be able to grow.
Well, I mean, my
Construction, though, and men, and asking them to be a little uncomfortable is like picking up a broom. Like they don't want to do it.
Oh, like the new person shows up, and everyone's like, ah.
Yeah.
It's a
automatic
scratch in the
hatred.
record. Yeah.
Right.
Something that the puke truck doesn't show up until like 12:30 instead of 12, and it starts to rain. It's like, we live in Canada. We know the weather's going to do something horrible, and all of a sudden it starts to rain, and they're like, oh, I can't believe this. Yeah, mystery.
How do we change that?
Just this like negative kind of perspective. I don't think there's an easy answer there. I think it's really easy to pick up the negatives. It's so easy to go, oh yeah, well this happened, or it rained today, or, this new guy on the job doesn't know what he's doing, or whatever it may be. It's really easy to pick up the negatives and think about those. But I think if everyone made a conscious decision to start actually counting what they're grateful for, like the good things in the day.
Cups half full, not half empty.
Yeah. They would actually have more positive experiences on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, somebody, how are you? Well, I'm not bad.
Yeah.
But what are you?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, well, I'm quite happy today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not bad.
Yeah.
It's how you perceive things, I guess, right?
It's easy to count things up, and, bad things happen to everyone. It's life. Not everything's going to be easy, right? But we also are... We have so much. We have so many good things,
Well, it's so true that not everything that's bad is going to always be bad.
Oh,
but people need to also remember that not everything that's good is always going to be good.
Yeah. We wouldn't have joy without suffering.
Yes.
Right? And we wouldn't have pleasure without pain.
Yes.
Right? So it's just one of those things that we have to accept. That's going to be present.
Ebbs and flows.
It ebbs and flows. And everything, most things, especially emotions and feelings, they're temporary. It comes and goes. Sometimes they'll get really hard, but then it'll pass, right? It's nothing worth ruining your day over, maybe, right?
I tell my kids a lot, detach from the outcome.
So, Hannah, talking about pain, why did you choose construction? You realize that you're 3% of the workforce in Canada. It's 11%, I think, in the U.S. I have no idea what it's like around the world.
So if I may, so you do project management. So you went from demolition.
So I went from demo to project coordinator, which is basically site super.
So were you coordinating the demolition jobs that you
No,
were doing, or just
rebuilds.
completing like a whole new company?
Same company, but I was doing like rebuilds and stuff.
Okay.
So it's restoration. So if there's a fire, we're going to rebuild whatever's damaged or
right.
flood.
Do you still smell smoke?
Do I still smell smoke? Yes.
Yeah, it's funny how you always just
Yeah.
smell smoke, even though that the job's been fixed and
Yeah,
it's all
you smell it
done.
a little bit. Depends,
Smoke,
but
mold, wet, like
Yeah.
that damp, like
Yeah. a little bit. So I was kind of thrown into it. And I ended up loving it. And I was like, okay, I can't see myself doing firefighting anymore. I just love construction.
Before firefighting, what was on the table?
Training for firefighting.
Honestly, I dropped out of high school twice. I didn't know I was going down the wrong path. I was hanging out with the wrong people. Ended up finishing high school. Then I went to college for emergency services. That's where I met you. And then
Good thing.
So for firefighting,
Great
you
thing,
were
yeah.
in Canada, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So I was like-
2 years? 3.
I did a private school.
Okay.
So it was, I think it took me like 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, they're like a year intensive kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to school for emergency services, dropped out. I'm like, I don't want to do this because it was more like paramedic driven. And I was like, I don't want to do this. And then I was like, okay, firefighting. But I didn't actually really want to do it. Like, I just thought it'd be like a cool job. But then I was like, I don't really see myself doing that. And I
You
was,
dodged a huge bullet.
yeah, I know.
Well, it's hard to get into too. You'd be waiting for a job.
Yeah.
Freaking years.
But it's
Yeah.
funny, but as a female, you're already at the top of that list to get in.
And I'm
That's
gay
true.
too.
You know, and if
Yeah.
So does that add to it?
Yeah. Like if
Oh,
you're,
huge.
if you're gay, girl, like
Diversity.
diversity.
if you're
Yeah.
if you the more like more ethnic things like that, it's like because I got into firefighting.
Yeah.
And literally, as I finished my, I did all the training, was all that. Literally, was on a job, but one day I fell down. I screwed my knee up, but that literally I had to resign before I went into active service.
Oh my.
And I was like, okay, well, but again, you learn once you get into it, and you learn all about, and they teach you everything, and you get to see what it's like.
Yeah.
If they really showed people what the job was like
Oh.
and the people you're with and who you're meeting, nobody would sign up.
Oh, I've
Really?
heard awful stories about girls joining like 20 years ago. They tortured the girls. Like they'd put stuff in their lockers. They would embarrass them. Like it was bad.
The
Yeah.
hazing.
It was really bad.
It's not today still, or is it?
Not as bad. No, it's more
Not
like
not as
a
much.
family. It's,
Yeah.
you still see it, but not, because I have some friends that are in firefighting that are girls. But it's not as bad, but it does happen. You have like the odd, older guy who's been here doing it for 30 years, and
Well, I
this
got
is
on.
a man's job, you know?
hang on.
I got on it. It was funny because I was like I was one of the oldest guys in there, and it's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
like the stuff you see. It's just crazy.
Well, I another reason I didn't want to do it is I saw a really bad motorcycle accident and the guy died. I watched him crash and literally sat with him till he died. And I was like, I can't do this every day. It's gonna mess with me.
Yeah, that was tough. You were like the first on scene, were you not?
Yeah, I watched it happen. He drove right in front of me and crashed, and I was like, I can't do this every day.
So then got thrown into construction.
Yeah, pretty much. But I
Fun.
was always interested in it.
In what aspect?
I'd be like driving with my mom, and I'd be like, oh, cool. Like, look at the construction workers. Like, just like that. I never saw myself doing it just because it was that stigma. Like, this is for men, and this is before it like came out.
Did
and
your
was
mom
gay.
mention that too as well? Because whenever you look at a job site, you'd be hard pressed to find the one woman.
Yeah. Well, no, she just wants me to be happy. She doesn't really care what I
Perfect.
yeah, she's been like super supportive. But yeah, like I just would drive and I would see construction, be like, oh, I would want to do that, but I never thought it was reality. And I got thrown into it and I was like, okay, there's more girls in it than you would think, but it's rare. Like I'll be on a site when I was a site super and there might be one other girl, maybe.
Yep,
So
that's about right.
yeah.
But it piqued your interest, which is cool because
Yeah.
a lot of people go through most of their life and can't even find that one thing that piques their interest.
Yeah. Like I like it. It's good.
What about the mental bullshit, the games from some of the old school cavemen that are in the industry, all that crap? You just kind of.
I like it. It fires me out.
Really?
I like it. Yeah.
Does
I'm like,
it?
say it to me.
Does
say
it
to me.
really?
But as you're as you're in project,
You're a
management,
girl. You're a girl. You can't lift as much as us. You,
yeah, I'm
you
like, let's
shouldn't
go.
Be here. You know.
There was
It's-
actually at one time there was I was doing a hotel and there was like a beam and the guys were like, we can't lift it. Like we can't do it today because we can't lift it. I'm like, if I go up there and I can lift this, you're doing it today and you're not leaving till it's done. So I went up and I could pick it up. I'm like, there's 4 of you. Pick up the beam.
I would never question a woman, man.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, I would never question it. It just makes no sense because there's a lot of weak guys out there,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it
or
was-
just lazy.
Lazy.
Weak.
lazy excuses.
Well, because I was going up and I'm like, I better be able to pick this up. Because
It's like my mom. It's like I can't find this, mom. She's like, if I go up there, if I can find it,
yeah. Yeah.
It's true, and she'll find it.
yeah,
Yeah.
always.
So with
Always.
project management, what are you doing now? Like,
So I'm pretty much, say we get an emergency, there's a flood in a basement. I'll go to the job, measure it out, do a sketch. Because it's insurance, right?
yeah.
So I'll see if like whatever it's worth putting a claim through. If there needs to be emergencies, we'll cut drywall, rip up the floor, and then do a repair estimate.
Because that's typically what, flood, fire,
Yeah, all that stuff.
mold
Yeah.
remediation.
Yeah, and like natural disaster. Like
Yeah.
I think it was May, the windstorm.
Yeah.
It was super busy, just like shingles flying off
All over
roofs
the place.
Oh yeah,
All the roofers.
If you're a
started-
smart
all
roofer,
the-
you'd be driving around going, hey, do you need me to go up
I
there?
know, I
Yeah.
know.
It'll cost X amount.
Yeah.
That would have been smart.
Well,
yeah.
we're at your cottage when it was happening,
Oh,
and the tree
that.
fell.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
that.
A tree like this thick just snapped in half on my cottage neighbor, and another tree snapped and fell on the electrical wire, the line.
We had no power
No
for a
water.
full night. No water, no power.
Way too much, way too many of us in the rickety old, very small.
I thought it was gonna take flight.
I'm sure you guys are going to survive, no?
Oh, it was funny.
Make a fire.
It was hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah. It was fun.
couple incidents,
It's how,
but
it's
we
how
made
a
it.
cottage should have been.
It honestly was
Yeah.
the highlight of the day.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Honestly, we had one of those like tents that extend from the legs. I don't know what they're called. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can drill them in. They have like those little triangle legs. And they extend.
Oh, okay.
You're looking at me confused.
Well,
You know
because
what I
if
mean?
it's not a hotel and it doesn't have room service, I don't know what you're talking about.
You're not
me.
an outdoorsman.
No, that's me. I was like, I need to leave right now. I'm going home. I'm packing my stuff and leaving.
Yeah. Well, the wind was ripping our little tent thing out of our deck, and we thought it would like crash right into our cottage window. So I was like, hand me the drill. And I'm there in like 100-kilometer winds, like unscrewing this thing out of the deck. Like everyone's like flipping tables
The
upside down.
trees almost fell on the car. We were moving the cars.
It was like the most chaotic scene. It was hilarious, but I felt like I was in a movie. I was like, give me the drill.
What if you moved the car to where it actually dropped?
okay, true, but it was falling, and I was like, okay, no. So we had to
Yeah.
back it up.
Move it up on the grass?
Yeah.
It was chaotic.
Yeah.
It was chaotic. Yeah. But we made it
So I
through.
don't
We
go into the
survived.
wilderness unless I'm in like
We're
a man-
glamping.
Yeah, glamping.
We said if we're ever going camping, we're getting an RV. That's it. We're
I'm not a camper.
I'm not sleeping in a tent.
I got
I'll
a
make
question
you
for
one
you,
day.
Han- like before I ask you the question, I'm just going to ask you a little bit of OBC talk.
Oh God!
Ontario Building Code.
Oh,
Types of beam structure.
don't ask me this.
What do you mean? Continuous beams. A continuous beam is one that has two or more supports that reinforce the beam. That's a beam. Simply supported beams. Simply supported beams are those that have supports at both ends. Just so you know, so you can go into a structure and take a look at it. I didn't
Okay,
know all
thanks.
this.
It's simple.
Okay, so
Okay.
fixed beam is another type of beam structure. Overhanging beams, cantilever beams.
It's a lot of different beams.
Do you know what the rule of thumb for cantilever beams are?
No.
How much it has to go into the structure as it can go out of the structure?
Is it 3 to 1?
No, 2
4
to 1.
2 to
2 to
1.
1.
2 to 1. So whatever you put into the house, that's how much you can
Okay.
Cut out.
out. 4 feet in, 2 feet out.
Okay.
That's how much
Makes
you can
sense.
cantilever. What are the 3 types of support conditions in beams? She didn't tell you it was like a whole Q&A.
She
Roller.
goes, don't worry. They're not going to ask you anything about construction. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
That's all we're asking you.
I had to convince her somehow. We got to get her on the show.
The 3 types of support conditions in beams are roller, pinned, and fixed conditions.
Okay.
Connections, sorry, are the 3 most common types of supports in beams. What are the 6 types of beams out there?
Jim Beam.
No. There's
sorry.
a universal beam, a hip beam, a truss beam, a lattice beam, a composite beam, a chilled beam, a reinforced concrete beam, and a steel beam.
I was going to say LVL.
What is the maximum length of beam? As long as you can pre-stress concrete beams, there is no limit to the length of a beam.
Beam me up.
So, in fact, the world's longest bridge is a continuous span beam at almost 24 miles long.
Oh,
Nice.
And
It's a
that's
big beam.
in Lake
Big beam.
Pontchartrain? Causeway? I don't know. Right there. It's a 2-lane section that runs parallel to one another. A little bit of OBC talk. But I want to ask you, or did I ask you? No. Color tool are you?
You already asked me this.
That's what I thought.
You don't remember.
She's the best color.
She chose red. Oh, yellow. That's why.
Yellow.
That's why I didn't remember it.
Why? What's your color?
He's in denial.
I'm
What
not
are you,
in
red?
denial.
You're red.
No, I'm not red. I'm not Milwaukee or Hilti. I'm Bosch.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I don't know.
What color drill was the drill that you were helping save the cottage and your lives at the cottage during this windstorm?
It was red. It was red. I think it was Milwaukee. It's all my dad's tools. He has a lot of tools. So I don't.
why is
I'm not
he all
totally,
red?
This is true.
Why is he
Yeah.
all red?
Because it's
Is he-
Dave.
Wow.
Come
It's
over
Dave.
here.
Dave's the
You know
best
what?
handyman I know.
He's a handyman.
He's
That's
the
why
man.
red
He
tools.
was
He's a handyman. That's why he's red.
He was
Yeah.
a wood
not-
shop teacher back in the day.
Oh, was
so
he really?
I know a few things. He put me to work. So I built a few things in my day.
Nice.
What did you build? Like a chessboard?
Well, I've helped no. I just took that and I was like, wait a minute. No, I have not built that. No, like furniture. I've helped like reno our house, like flooring,
Really?
the bathroom. Like I've always been like the helper of the family. He put me to work. So I learned a lot in just that. And I got like A+ on all my science projects because I built some cool stuff.
She's like, I
So-
can't come out. I have to shovel snow, or I'm
Yeah.
raking the lawn. I can't come out.
Yeah, I'm
or we're
always
cleaning the
working.
garage out today. I can't come out.
I'm always working. Oh, we're emptying the cottage of shit in the
Can't come
dumpster bin.
out.
Can't come out. Yeah, always working,
You gotta
doing
come-
something.
You got to come to our place.
Oh, I'm done. Yeah, I'm moving out actually. So I'm retiring from
Moving on.
Yeah, the.
I know, he'll
family
call you.
worker. Oh yeah.
You're like, what are you doing Saturday? I'm like, oh, nothing. Okay, perfect.
No, it's good
Come
though.
rake
I
the
learned a
leaves.
lot. I'm glad he put me to work because I learned a lot, and I don't need anyone to like help me build something. Like as long as it's
builds a good,
fairly simple.
It builds a good sense of independence.
Yeah.
That you can do something.
Oh, you know,
Yeah.
the older you get, it's always nice to have a helper, though.
Oh, for sure.
There's always a need for a second body,
Yeah.
right?
Well, now that I'm older too, like I want to help my dad. When I was younger, I was like, oh, I was pissed
hate
about
him.
it. But now I'm like, oh, I want to help. I also want to learn because I don't want to have to outsource when I live on my own one day. I
because
want
we're
to.
really expensive. That's why.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, you're the professionals, but if I can get by, doing
you
a
can-
little bit on my own, like I'd like to.
You can call
Right?
somebody to help you, and if you have the wherewithal to know
yeah,
what you're doing, then
exactly.
that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how much longer, or what else you want to do in construction, Hannah?
I want to learn like everything. Well, not everything, but 'cause
Everything.
I want to learn like, because before I was, doing demo and I was project coordinator / site super. Now I'm project manager. I don't know if I want to be a project manager forever. I want to learn it though.
But like, you're not on the tools at all, or are you?
No, not at all.
I mean, do you want to get your hands back on the tools and be productive with your? Not productive, but you know what I mean. But like, do you want to do? Do you want to get back on and do, or are you happy being behind the scenes with the administrative organization, running the people, managing?
I would definitely get on tools. Like I wanted to go back to school to be like a plumber or something. I did. Now that I'm in this position, I don't know if I would.
You're probably better off, from what I've been told by speaking to the top 3 mechanical trades, which is plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. Find someone to be an apprentice for
I know I was thinking about
instead
it.
of school, because you will learn better.
Oh yeah,
So
for
much
sure.
more.
Because I think isn't it like 4 months on and then the rest?
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking about it.
The only problem is that the most established of the top 3, they don't want you. You're brand new. You're
Yeah.
green, right? They
Yeah.
want somebody who's got 3-4 years already. But some do because you don't have the bad habits.
Well, I have like hookups. I know like a lot of the guys, they'll do like large loss jobs and only big jobs, but I'll call them and they'll do like a small job for me because they're like super close. So like if I really wanted to, like I have hookups there. But I just need that push. I just want to learn a little more before I do that because I could always bounce back, if I didn't like it or.
But like they say, if you're going to learn it, like the trade is the trade. Pick your trade: carpenter, plumber, electrician. But then, if you want to be successful in business at it, you learn the business end. So if right now you're focusing more on the admin business side of it, definitely pay attention
Yeah.
and learn that, so that then when you get your desired skill that you want, and then you jump into a business, you've got that nice balance.
Yeah.
Because most guys are great craftsmen.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're working for $25-$30 an hour for somebody. Now you're going to go be a business person and do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys undervalue what they're worth.
Yeah.
They're happy making an extra $5-$10 an hour, not knowing that they should be charging double to triple.
Yeah.
So learning the business end and the admin stuff now is actually to your advantage.
Yep.
Where most people get into it, they're about 30, 35. I'm going to do this on my own. They go do it. 10 years later, they're bankrupt because, well, I don't know how I didn't make any money. Or they're so focused because, again, like stubborn, like,
Value the paper
yeah.
a lot more than the hammer.
Yeah.
Like really do that. If you do that, then you'll be hugely successful.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like the position, I'm very grateful because there's not a lot of project managers my age, especially girls, that are in the position that I'm in. Like I don't want to say like it was all my dad, but he got me into the industry. And I don't think
but you still have to prove yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly.
She worked really hard.
I worked
Yeah.
really
You
hard.
worked really hard. Yeah.
Like 3 years ago, I was making $18 an hour. Now I'm like not even close to that, right? Like it just feels really good that like, you know, like
But you earned that. You worked for it.
yes, 100%. And again, I had to prove myself. I worked my ass off for years. I worked weekends, whatever, just to prove myself, especially because I'm a girl. And someone gave me the chance, and I am a project manager now, which is crazy to think in such short time. I'm where I'm at now. So
Don't get cocky though, huh?
I promise I
Don't
won't.
get
I'm
like,
very
oh,
humble.
I'm young and I've learned so much and I'm way ahead of the game.
No, I'm not.
Because life will snap and all of a sudden you'll be like, fuck, what happened?
Yep.
Right? So don't get too cocky.
I won't, I promise. I'm pretty humble, but I'm
I
proud of
don't doubt
myself.
it. I
I'm
don't
proud
doubt
of
it.
myself.
I'm
Good.
proud of you
Good
too.
for you,
Every time
honestly.
you tell me that story, I'm like sitting here like a proud mom. I'm just like so happy. You've done so well, but you worked really hard. Like
Yes.
someone can get you in the door, but you have to work your ass off to stay there.
And that goes for everybody that gets into any industry,
Yep.
especially the
Yep.
construction industry. Like you can think you got a free ride, but
no,
Oh,
earn
yeah,
it.
if you're shit, then bye.
they're
Yeah.
not going to keep you
Yep.
just because you know someone.
No.
You'll get
All-
your foot in the door, your resume an extra look, but then you got to
All
Yeah.
the people that I've ever met that are just, according to them, the best, the top of the game. I'm the,
yeah.
I'm the, I see them all the
according
time.
to them,
Oh yeah, you've met those people where it's like, if you're a tile installer, it's like, yeah,
I'm the best.
I'm the best out there. Really? If you are, why are you working?
Yeah.
You know, all the people that are always, according to them, the best at what they are, not a single one have I ever seen later on in life being the best them.
Yep.
You know, they're somehow, some way, the most broken version of them.
Yep.
So
Fair enough. There you go.
I do want to get a little serious with it. I want to share a story. I had a guest on the show, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, Brad the Builder.
Okay.
Super nice guy. And during the course of the show, I'm trying to remember the exact number. I don't know. I can't remember the number, but I'll put it in the notes. And he, halfway through the show, he opened up about how he had major addiction problems with drugs, alcohol, and almost destroyed him, right? But eventually he found the strength to get help from his family. And he's turning his whole life around. And he did talk about being on the job site where he was completely drunk, high at times, operating tools, you know, exactly. And it was putting himself at risk and possibly other people. And I'm bringing this up because I do have another friend of mine who's 10 years younger than myself. And his dad recently approached me because I found out that for years he got hooked on heroin. This kid, I've known him since he was a kid.
Okay.
And so they finally found him after so many times that he was almost rushed to the hospital and he was actually pronounced dead. This is a 40-year-old man that I've known since his teenage years, right? And he just got into the wrong crowd. And it was cocaine led to heroin, all kinds of stuff, meth, all shit, right?
Okay.
He's in a care facility now. 40 years old, care facility, can't even walk. And he's got so many heart problems. The doctors have said that he's basically lost half his function of his brain. He's going to need care for the rest of his life. His rest of his life might not even be that long, to be honest. But his dad approached me recently because he's got concerns about his other son, who's about 3 or 4 years younger than this first son. And he's gone through a bad, nasty separation, divorce, and he's turned to the bottle. And so now his dad's worried about his bottle. And then, you know, like there's all these little signs that he's like, listen, he's a hunter and he's got a bow. He doesn't have a gun, but I'm concerned, him and his ex-wife and the kids. And you're hearing all this stuff. And it's just like, it's not, I'm around it, but I never got into that whole world. And I'm trying to, and all I did was listen to the dad. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't contribute or anything. I just listened to him. And so I was just like, how do we deal with this? I guess as a parent, as a friend, how do we see these signs of these people? Because to me, these will always be kids that I've known and to see him the way he is, and realistically, he will be dead soon because of everything that he's done to his body.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So I don't know how like his dad has already told me he's already expecting his first son to pass away, which might trigger his second son to either take his own life or just turn to like, every day bottles of alcohol are consumed by this kid. Even though he's 37 or whatever, it's still a kid to me.
Yeah.
And so his dad is trying to understand. And his dad's he's old school creation, and this is where he came from, and he doesn't understand this shit. And his wife passed away from breast cancer a decade earlier. So it's just like, how do we deal with that? How do we, as a parent, as a friend, as a sibling, as like that's the extreme. That's tough. But I'm really very respectful of Brad, and he turned his life around. And the first step that I remember him talking about on the show, it took him so much strength to just ask for help from his mom, and it was his mom that helped him turn around. And he just one day at a time, and he's slowly turning his life around.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right, but I mean, some people can't, and you've heard the stories over. Heroin is a walking dead drug, and all this. Like basically, once you get consumed and tied from it,
it's hard.
You can't let go of it.
It's tough. I don't know much about addictions, but I do know that unfortunately, it really takes that person who's addicted to want to get help before anything can change. Like us telling them, oh, that's so bad for you, isn't going to help, right? I think the best thing we can do is just show them that we're there for them. Like you said, like your buddy, when he was able to finally tell his mom, that's when things changed. She probably expressed her support and her availability to help him, and him thinking on it, thinking, okay, I'm ready to change. Who do I have? This person told me that they're there for me, right? So he went that route. So I think expressing our concern and our want to help, our support, that way they know that we're there for them is a big thing. I
guess that's also the power of addiction, because, I mean, you
tough.
know you have a problem.
Yep.
And as you're doing whatever it is you're addicted to, the alcoholism, the drugs, as you're doing it, you know, it's a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
And once you keep feeding it, and it's just got to hit, you got to hit, and not even say rock bottom, but some people have got to go beyond that until finally they're just like, I got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some people can get out of it, and some people can't. It's
Yeah.
just unfortunately the nature. And I think that, like you're saying, like it's hard to say, like when you asked you, like what's a good, like, because everyone's case is so different. Was it a childhood trauma? Was it this? Was it that? I mean, like a stub toe to me is just an annoyance. To some people, it's a life-changing event.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the culmination of everything that's happened to you, which makes. And each person that, and I guess in therapy, that's the thing. In therapy, every single, you could say, have one conversation with somebody that could just snap that light, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. And they can go about their day. And for some people, it's a client for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I think you make a good point, though. Addiction is oftentimes a symptom of trauma, as is depression, as is anxiety. All of those are often symptoms for a trauma. Something happened to them, and now this is their body's reaction, either their protective system, defense mechanism, distraction, vice, way of coping. You know, when we've been through a lot and we don't have the tools to handle it, like the emotional regulation or the distress tolerance, we end up developing really maladaptive ways of coping that can lead to anxiety, depression, addiction. So with addiction, you know, a lot of things are just Band-Aid solutions, but if you want long-term recovery, successful recovery, if there's a trauma present, that needs to be addressed, and that wound needs to be healed for something to actually change substantially and stay that way long-term.
So I'm a man, and I'm finally telling myself that I'm going to therapy reluctantly, whether it's couples therapy or just family, whatever, some sort of, I want to go see you. I want to go speak to you.
Yeah.
What's the mindset I should be in? Like, what's the headspace that I should be in?
Not reluctant. Because if you're not willing to listen, or you're not open-minded, or you don't really want to be there, then you're not going to really hear what I have to say. You're not going to be willing to share with me what you're feeling. You're not going to be able to, or be willing to try new things. you're wasting your money and time.
Walking in there going, she better not tell me I'm bullheaded and belligerent.
Like, get rid of all that. Just
Be open to it.
Okay.
The more you're willing to share with your therapist, the better we're able to help you, right? If we don't know what happened in your life or what's happening in your mind, what you're feeling, what you're going through, how are we supposed to help you? So being vulnerable is a big piece of therapy, but it also takes time, and we understand that. You have to build that relationship with your therapist so that you feel comfortable sharing certain things, right? Some things are just sensitive that you can't just open up as easily to others about, right? So sometimes that takes time, but be open, be willing to try new things or to think new ways, and be willing to share about your life, because this isn't therapist talking time, right? This is their time to process emotions and think about their life and reflect. So my biggest piece of advice is, just be open. Just be open to it. Be willing to at least try it out, right? Because if you're reluctant, it most likely will not work. You won't see any positive change from it.
I still see, it's 2020. There's like the discussions we're having now. 2022, but you know what I mean. But
we're stuck in 2020.
But we're having those discussions now that about mental health and all these things that were not even there, like even 5-10 years ago. It was still that suppress and just suck it up and do this. Yeah. And even though it's nice we're talking, I still think that even guys like me, I mean, like I love talking about it and getting it out and discussing and getting to the root of those problems to see when you can have that eureka moment, like so why it was the way it is and how it was. But there's still, I think, so much reluctance, especially from a male perspective, that it's still considered unmanly.
I think it's the industry in general, our masculine-dominated industry.
Yeah. But even in an office environment, like
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's still like that.
But we're in construction. You're around all that reluctance
because I mean, and
so they're feeding each other.
Like here in this society in Toronto, in Canada, you get into some other cultures where there's still like you look at the comedians that go on stage, and in the different cultures, they still make fun of the white people that do like to talk about it and to have these things where there's those societies are still sucking it up and getting hit by grandma, grandpa, like they're still getting beaten by their parents. It's totally acceptable and things like that.
Yeah.
And even now, people nowadays on social media, it's like, you can tell that, what is that meme going around where they say like, I can see evidence that you were never hit as a kid because of the way you behave.
Yeah,
like, I've seen that.
I mean, it's funny, it's ha-ha, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, but people were beat too. They turn out bad too. It's just like...
Some were good.
Yeah.
I turned out okay.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, I guess it's both or whatever. It's just whatever you do with it.
I guess that's also how you get. If you're getting beaten for disciplinary reasons, that's one thing.
We're talking about sticks and belts and wires. This was normal.
Wet towels.
Oh God!
Wet towels. That's soft. That's a spa. What's wrong with your wet spa?
What do you mean? With the right.
A piece of 2x4 or a belt with the buckle side, like not the leather soft cow side.
Not the soft
that's where the damage.
Stinking leather side, the more blood draining buckle side.
One last segment here. Green Book talk. You're familiar with the Green Book?
Yeah, but
basic working at heights requirements. Plenty of companies are not meeting the basic Ministry of Labor, MOLE, or moly requirements at a working at heights program. Here are some things you should be doing if your employees are working at heights. 1, you are required under the Ontario Occupational Health and Safety Act and Regulations, which is OSHA, our Green Book, to inspect your fall protection equipment every time you use it. Is that true or false?
True.
You're not supposed to answer it.
I don't know.
True.
You must have a checklist to show what you inspected the equipment for, and it must be signed off and dated. True or false?
I think that's false.
It's true.
Really?
If you don't have a copy of the inspection sheet, how do you prove to the MOL when they do inspect it?
Okay, fair. That makes sense.
Number 2, a rescue plan. Anytime you're wearing fall protection equipment or using safety net, you must have a rescue plan attached to that. So you need to figure out what's going to happen in the event.
Yes.
So now site specific, in writing, must be in place before the work starts, must be trained on, must be explained and understood by all workers on site. Ladders. If you use ladders on your job site, they must be inspected every single day. True or false?
True.
You're going to use them. Just like fall protection equipment, they must be a written checklist.
Yes.
It's true.
It's true.
And which, so inspected by ladders, the date and the person who inspected it. You should also have your ladders numbered so you can identify each ladder. If you have 4 ladders on your truck and they are not numbered, how does the MOL know which one you actually inspected?
True.
I've
Good
done none
point.
of these things ever, and I work up ladders.
But
all
these
the
are
time.
just base. So I started by saying basic working were height requirements, right?
I'm not even doing the basic.
Oh no.
Well, I had an MOL guy come to one of my sites.
A moly moly.
Yes. And
They had a mole on site.
he was so lazy. It was like there was 8 floors and he'd go on one floor and be like, that's all I needed to see. I'm like, okay, perfect. But like,
He didn't want to climb the other side.
no, because there was no elevator. So he didn't want to take the stairs. Swear to God.
Well, a good one. We were doing. I did a small job at Bruce Nuclear. We got
Yeah,
called in
yeah.
there, and end of the day anyway. So they had got in a shipment of different ladders, all different heights, step ladders, and they had a new maintenance guy in there, and he thought he was being smart by identifying each one, and he used an engraving tool to engrave each one. It must have been like 15, 20 grand fiberglass, like beautiful ladders.
I already know
Oh,
where this
no.
is going.
At the end, by his inspector came in. At the end of the day, they were just like telling, like, I got 4 ladders that day because he's like, take what you want. It's all garbage.
Yep.
Every single one went to scrap. They said they can have stickers. They can be
You
written
can't engrave
No,
it.
you can't.
engrave
He
it.
compromised it now.
Yep.
Every single one.
That's hilarious.
That's
And you see
rough.
some of the ladders I've climbed up with the rungs bent.
He's so probably proud of his penmanship and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Writing
Oh,
with-
yeah.
It was like, it was all nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
ruined it.
wow. That was something.
Taylor, thank you very much. We got one last
Yeah.
segment to do. See if there's anything that we want to talk about still. But
Yeah.
www.thetherapyspace.co.
Yep.
That's not a mistake. It's co. info@thetherapyspace.co. And then on Instagram, it's thetherapyspace_. Hannah, Compass Construction Project Manager. Good luck with it. Don't
Thank
take
you.
any shit from the cavemen in this industry. Yeah?
I won't. I
Don't ever
promise.
take any shit
I
from
won't.
them.
He won't.
I won't.
Don't. W, send them our way. Send www.compassconstruction.ca and Hannah at compassconstruction.ca.
Yeah.
Shay, you have any last minute kind of questions or whatever before I get into the 12 questions of construction?
Hannah, make
Oh,
at least
no.
one. Make
I
at least one
butchered
post.
these
No,
last time.
these are, yeah, I
You want
know.
me-
I
Make
really
make
did.
At least
I
one
panicked.
post.
One post? Okay. Okay. I'll make a post.
Can I
What's-
say one thing?
Yes.
We actually have really low cost therapy right now. I just want to mention
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, we have some new interns on board at my practice, and they're as low as $50 a session, which is like a steal, really. So
That's good to know.
yeah, because I know therapy is really hard to find, especially affordable therapy. So
And
it's
they're there to learn and to gain experience.
yeah, so they finished all the coursework of their master's program, and now they're just basically getting hours. 4
going-
out of 5 of them are already qualifying registered psychotherapists, so they're registered with the college. It can still be covered by insurance, and yeah, so they're doing really well, but they're still taking on new clients, and as low as $50 a session makes it really easy. So
Is everything in person or are you guys doing Zoom? Or
virtual.
It's all
virtual.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, but I thought I'd mention it because I don't think people know.
They don't realize that.
They don't realize,
No,
yeah.
no, which
so
is great.
easy to do from home, pretty cheap. We have 5 interns, 2 of them are guys, so that's good for guys wanting to get into therapy, I think, too, sometimes.
Why are you doing virtual and not in? Are you doing, if people want in person? Are you offering that or no?
For a few clients, but I'm kind of phasing it out.
Like just in general?
Yeah.
But nothing to do with
more-
COVID or just
It was COVID at the beginning,
Yeah.
but just as we opened our business, we thought let's just start out virtual. Eventually, we do want to have like a wellness center of sorts. For now, we're just virtual, but we are finding that most people want virtual.
Is
So
it
it's
really?
fitting.
Has
Yeah.
It's
But
easier.
I'd rather speak to. I don't know. It's the same thing with podcasts,
well-
right? It's just I'd rather speak to you in person.
Like,
I-
has there been a study done to see like the one-on-one versus the
I think there
One-on-one that way?
has. It's all about like the therapeutic relationship. So I think it might be easier to build with someone in person, and the therapeutic relationship is the biggest factor an outcome of therapy. Besides any other intervention, any other theoretical modality, doesn't matter. If you have a good relationship with your therapist, that's the strongest leading factor in how good therapy is going to work, if it's going to be effective. So I think it's easier to build that relationship in person, although virtual means that people who are depressed and anxious don't have to get out of bed. They're accessing
Good
services,
point.
more
That's a good
therapy.
point.
It's
Yeah.
easier
Comfort
for
of
them.
I think it's more
They're
accessible.
It's accessible. They don't have to drive.
And if they're comfortable, they're more relaxed. If they're relaxed, they're more open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda
Throw
like-
on the
So-
ring light and then go to town.
Yeah. So I think there's something to be said for that, because meeting someone in person,
What light?
the ring
ring
light.
light.
You don't know what a ring light is?
Everybody.
It's like on a tripod, and you use
You
it for
obviously
like
don't have
it's
TikTok.
why the
Yeah.
Kardashians look pretty. Okay, it's just like
you
That's
hook your
called
phone
fa-
up to it. It's a tripod, and it has like a giant ring light. It's a ring light.
it's a circle.
Oh,
And
that's why you always
use
see
it.
the thing in the pupil.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
You
yeah.
got
that's
it.
the
I thought it
dead
was a
giveaway.
mirror.
That's
no,
the dead giveaway.
no. Yeah. There you
I
go.
learned something. Thank you.
He's going to go on
so
Amazon.
It's good that he's going to buy
Yeah.
one after that. They're really cheap, by the way, too.
Amazon.
So it's good that you're offering that. That's really great.
I think there's something to be said for that.
It'll really
And-
up my TikTok videos.
You have TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh no.
You haven't
Oh,
seen my
no.
dances.
Oh, no.
None of those things are real.
Are you ready for this? You can do it again because you were so pressured last time.
I panicked. I said the
I know.
stupidest things.
So we'll go
No,
slow.
okay, you help me out here.
No,
No.
easy.
This is a reflection
Like-
of you.
Yes, they're
Oh,
not.
There is
my
no
gosh.
right or
I'm like,
wrong.
okay.
There's no right or wrong, but you can
There's no
definitely
right or
sound
wrong,
dumb
but
like
just don't sound wrong.
Ready?
like me.
Are you ready, Hannah?
No.
What is your favorite construction word?
Oh,
Now you got an idea of where it's going.
okay. Tay, what's yours? I'm going to
I'm
think.
pretty sure I said like 2x4.
She's probably like hammer. I like hammer.
a jackhammer. I don't know.
Hammer.
Yours is jackhammer?
No, I don't know.
Jackhammer?
I was just throwing out some stuff. What's my favorite construction word? I don't know. See, I don't know.
What'd your dad used to say when you were helping him?
Put the flashlight on the right spot. I don't have a word. Fuck, I don't know. He'd be mad. I wasn't doing the flashlight job correctly.
Holding it
so.
straight, it started to the light started disappearing.
Yeah. He's like, fix it.
What is your least favorite construction word?
I don't like the word screwdriver. I don't know why.
It's a great drink.
It's a little
It is a
aggressive.
good
It's a
drink.
little aggressive.
It is. Screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
No.
Okay. All right. Taylor?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, God.
Put the flashlight over there.
She's like, flashlight.
Flashlight every time. Yeah. I don't know. My least favorite. How can you have it like in what way? How can you have a least favorite word?
I don't know. Word you just do not like in the same way she just said that.
Ministry of Labor.
Moly.
Okay. I don't like the moles.
The moles.
I'm with you guys.
What turns you on in construction?
Turns me on.
Not screwdriver.
Not the screwdriver. Not the screwdriver.
Okay, but what turns you on?
The hammer.
I was going to say, I think my jackhammer answer is appropriate in this question.
What turns you off in construction?
Men.
Really?
That's pretty.
Wow.
Just assholes in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say
I'd
that's-
agree with you on that
Yeah.
one.
I'm right there
Yeah.
too.
What turns you off in construction?
I think I said smoking last time. Great
Yes.
answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say catcalling this time.
Oh, yep.
What is your
That's
favorite
annoying.
curse word or phrase?
Favorite curse word? Motherfucker.
That's good stuff. Probably just fuck. I have a potty mouth. It comes out of my mouth a lot. So
What is your favorite vehicle? Anything in the world, not construction
Oh.
related. Anything in the world.
I like G-Wagons.
yeah, I love
Matching G wagons.
I love that.
Oh.
I do. It's always been like if I get rich, that's the car I'm gonna have. But if I don't get super rich, I'm just like a little rich, I'll get a Bronco.
Cute.
Yeah. But those kind of cars are nice.
Least favorite vehicle in the world.
Oh. A Sunfire. I hate those.
You know what that is?
Yeah, they're so fucking ugly.
How do you know what that is?
They're awful. I like cars. I'm a car gal.
That's like that's the
late
late 80s, early 90s?
No, late 90s.
Late 90s.
It came out in like 90.
I'm a car girl. I love cars.
What, a Sunfire? Yeah, that's like actually, that's a
an
terrible
awful car.
It was.
Terrible
Why?
Was it
terrible
like?
shape, terrible everything.
I gotta
It's
see what
awful.
that looks like.
You don't even know what a Sunfire looks
Oh,
like?
don't do it. Don't do it.
That image will be burned on your skull for
Yeah.
the rest of your life. You don't want it to
phone's
be
gonna
there.
explode.
Avert your eyes.
Okay, let's see. Sunfire car.
And this shows.
Oh, these bad boys.
Those bad boys.
Yes, yes.
I still see the odd
That-
one around here.
That
someday.
weapon.
If you like a Sunfire, you'll love a Ford Taurus.
Oh, it's a Pontiac. I was gonna say
Pontiac,
anything.
Sunfire.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite vehicle?
This Toyota Corollas, and hatchbacks, like small,
hatchback?
small,
Really?
like, the small ones. Like
A lot of hate
yeah.
for the Toyotas recently.
I don't know.
What
Small,
construction sound or noise do you guys love?
Okay. Do I have to do it? The sound?
What do you mean? You have
No,
to,
I thought you were going to make me do the sound.
well, I don't know what
mean,
sound
feel
it's going to
free.
be. What construction sound or noise do you love?
Um,
You can mimic the sound that you love.
yeah.
You can
Yeah,
mimic
go
the
ahead.
sound of
Go
No,
ahead.
actually, no, I'm going to butcher it.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
What is it?
Okay, no. Let's just say a chainsaw.
A chainsaw.
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually a cool sound.
Because I was going to do it, but then I was like, that's just what came. I don't
think-
really have a favorite word, but I was going to.
to hear the sound.
Let's hear it.
Mm.
That's better.
Exactly what I was expecting.
What construction sound or noise do you love?
A drill.
A drill. What construction sound or noise do you guys hate?
Ooh.
A silent chainsaw?
A silent chainsaw.
Electric chainsaw.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anything really, really loud that can wake you up in the morning when there's construction outside.
I hate the sound of a dump truck backing up.
I was going to say the beeping.
Oh my God. Why isn't it's so annoying? Or the new one that's like beep, 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 beep.
Is that a new one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's friggin' awful. It's not, I'd rather
Did they
the
change
beep.
it recently?
I think so, because it used to be beep, beep, now it's beep, 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 beep. Oh,
Oh,
It's
it's
a
much
serious-
Were guys sampling the other one and throwing it into auto-tune and
Maybe.
making a track out of
Yeah.
it? Is that why?
could be.
They were bored. They were definitely
And on
bored.
Fridays after 8, it's a...
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Exactly. All of a sudden the drums kick in. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I'd be a chef.
Hmm.
I love to cook.
Nice.
Yeah.
A reality TV star.
I don't see it.
Star or
Really?
host? A star or host?
You haven't seen.
The star.
I would be the
Stevie
star. You
Wonder
haven't seen
sees
the
it.
videos.
Stevie
You, ha-
Wonder sees it. Don't worry.
you haven't seen the
No,
videos.
if she posted all of her drafts on her social media, she would have been viral by now.
That's
but
your
Then
first
do it.
post. That's your first post.
you gotta stay professional.
I gotta
I
stay
think.
professional until I feel like it's right.
Then create an alter account
Until
with a
she's
fake
rich enough.
name.
A ghost account. A Bansky.
Yeah.
A Bansky. Bansky?
Okay.
No, Bansky.
You have your
Penny for
profession.
penny.
You have your
Penny for
professional
penny.
account, and then
Yeah.
you have the other account that you follow all the goofy stuff.
What
Okay, fair.
profession would you not like to do?
Anything to do with like something like office, like because I do both, but not like it's like fun stuff though. It's not like
But your office is not an office.
yeah, it's
But
not
like
like
in a-
numbers,
in-
like an accountant
In a
maybe.
cubi-
No,
in a cubicle.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's not me.
Data
That's a good
processing all
answer.
day.
Yeah, no.
I'd say the same. Like any typical 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Soul
Like
sucking.
sit on my ass the whole
Yeah.
time.
no.
Last
Yeah.
question. See, they were painless, right?
Eh,
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
could this?
Anything you want.
I don't think it would be heaven. It'd be like, "Welcome to hell, motherfucker."
Oh God.
That's him. Yes.
I think it'd be the same for you.
Yeah. I'll excuse myself. I'll go visit Hannah.
Sorry, sir, I'm in the wrong spot. I'll leave now.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah.
Taylor, Hannah, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're
Really nice to
welcome.
see you and meet you for the first time.
Yes, this is awesome.
Thank you. So everybody check it out, please. www.thetherapyspace.co, C-O, and it's info@thetherapyspace.co. And on Instagram, it's thetherapyspace_. And don't forget, there's an intern special,
Yeah, 5 interns, $50 a session.
which is amazing, virtual.
And they'll be here for 8 months. So there's
Starting
time.
when? It's just,
Starting now. They just started in September,
oh,
actually.
so for the next 8 months.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right through the winter months,
Yeah,
I was
exactly, which
thinking-
is
which is
Awesome.
ideal.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, just to give them the experience, I think maybe I'll make one session for each of them and really boost start their careers, because
yeah, I mean,
I'm a case they don't want
Oh,
to
yeah.
unpack.
And Hannah's information is www.compassconstruction.ca, and her email is Hannah with an H at compassconstruction.ca.
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you guys. Really
Thanks, guys.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We
Thank you
are
for
out
having
of
us.
here now.
Okay.
Peace out.
Signing off.